Hello dear students, as you all know we are doing chapter number 4, moving charges and magnetism. Yesterday we talked about, means in the last lecture we talked about the force acting on a current carrying wire, and then after we discussed the torque acting on a current carrying loop. Okay, what I have told you in the next video lecture I will do the topic once again, okay, because it is a very complicated one and it takes lots of time to understand. So let us do that topic once again, but not in a full you can say explanation. It is going to be a short revision. Okay, so let us do that topic once again. What topic I am talking about? I am talking about torque acting on a current loop. Current loop. Basically that loop is a uniform magnetic field. Okay, let us discuss this topic. Okay, let us see, let this be the case. So the coil is kept like this in the plane, it is kept like this, PQRS. The area vector of the coil is perpendicular outward, right? The area vector of the coil is perpendicular outward. In this case, if a current I is flowing through the coil like this, then what is the force acting on PQ? The force will be ILB sin theta. But what is the direction of that force? For the direction I have told you the rule. Thumb in the direction of current, all the fingers in the direction of magnetic field. If you apply this rule, so here what we are going to have, thumb in the direction of current, all the fingers in the direction of magnetic field, where the palm faces inward. Palm faces inward. So here a force will be acting at this point and the force will be inward. Since direction of current in this side is just opposite, and therefore the force acting on this side will be outward. Okay, direction of magnetic field is this side, current in this RS side is downward, palm face is indicating outward. So force on this side is outward, force on this side is inward. What is the force acting at this point? Acting with direction of force I am asking. What is the force which is direction of at this point? So direction of current in this way, direction of current is this way, and magnetic field is in this way only. Now what will happen? Current is in the same direction with the magnetic field, and therefore the force will be 0, because force is given by F is equal to ILB sin theta, where theta is the angle between length and the magnetic field, but the direction of length is considered in the direction of current only. So basically when the current and magnetic field are perpendicular parallel to each other, then force will be 0. Same it goes with QR, because current is in the direction of magnetic field, and because of that theta will be 0 degree and there is no force acting on QR. Same goes with SP also, because here the angle is 180 degree, current is just opposite to the direction of magnetic field, and because of that theta becomes 180 and force will be 0. So basically we are going to have two forces only, one on this side, one on this side, and these two forces will rotate the coil. These two forces will rotate the coil. How? Let me tell you. If this is the coil, so basically at this point, this is your coil, PQRS. So suppose this is PQRS. At this edge, the current is inward. At this edge, current is outward. So what will happen? This coil will rotate. This coil will rotate. Okay, but it is a particular case when this loop is kept like this, that the force on QR and force on SP is 0. But suppose if this coil is rotated a bit by an angle theta, then this diagram we are going to have. Okay, then that diagram we are going to have. Here, the direction of magnetic field and the direction of current, there is an angle between them, and what that angle is. So that angle is the direction of magnetic field, right? And now suppose this is the coil, Earlier it was kept like this. Suppose, imagine that magnetic field is from here to here. Now this coil is rotated like this. It is being rotated. So basically magnetic field is still in this direction. So there is an angle. Current is going from this direction. So there is an angle, right? There is an angle. Now just see this side, and let us discuss about this side first of all. This side will have two components. One along the magnetic field, one perpendicular to the magnetic field. This length will have two components, one along the magnetic field, one perpendicular to the magnetic field. The one who is along the magnetic field will experience zero force because it will be the parallel to the magnetic field only. Again the angle will be zero, and because of F is equal to ILB sin theta, theta becomes zero for this component. But this component makes an angle 90 degree with the magnetic field. This component makes an angle 90 degree with the magnetic field. So what is the direction of force? Direction of length is this side. Basically the current is this side. Current although flowing like this, but the length which is along the current I have divided into component. One along, one perpendicular. The direction of current you have to take like this. Thumb you have to keep in the direction of magnetic field, this one component, and all these fingers towards the magnetic field. What is the direction of palm face? Downward. The force acting at this point, the force acting on this face will be perpendicular downward. Okay, perpendicular downward, right? And since in this side and this side current is just opposite, the force on these sides will be perpendicular upward. So basically these two forces will cancel each other. These two forces will cancel each other. They will not result in any kind of motion. Why is it so? Just imagine. Suppose at this side the force is downward, this side the force is upward. Where the coil will go? It will go nowhere. If it would have been like this, if then this side upward, this side downward, then it may rotate. But if it is like this plane vertically, if it is in a vertical plane, then this force is downward, this force is upward. These two forces are going to cancel each other, and therefore these two forces will not cause any kind of motion. Okay, but when we look at this side, again the current is going upward, magnetic field is this way, current, thumb in the direction of current, all these fingers in the direction of magnetic field, palm face is indicating inward. So basically this side will experience a force which is inward. Cross I am making because perpendicular inward. For this side, the force will be outward because direction of current is just opposite. You can apply also. All these fingers in the direction of magnetic field, thumb in the direction of current, where the palm face is outward. So basically force in this will be outward. Okay, so these two forces will make rotation of coil. Okay, these two forces make rotation of coil. They are like this. Suppose it is like this. So now what is happening? The coil is kept like this. Suppose on this side the force is towards me. On this side the force is towards yourself. So what will happen? This will rotate the coil. This will rotate the coil. Is it clear? So basically these two forces will cause a torque, and that torque is given by force multiplied by perpendicular distance between forces. Torque is represented by torque. What is the force? The force is given by I, the length of PQ. Let us consider that PQ is equal to L. So L, magnetic field is B. Sine, what is the angle between the length and the magnetic field? It is 90 degree. Sine 90. This is what? This is the force. Now what is the perpendicular distance? What is the perpendicular distance? Now suppose this QR is B. B is breadth. Okay. Now again you have to understand. Just see. Now suppose if it is like this, then this side it is not straight. If it would have been straight, then it was very easy. This length only, it is the perpendicular distance between the force. At this side force is towards me, on this side force is towards yourself. So basically this is the length. But now what is happening? This is a bit tilt. This is a rotated. rotated by an angle theta. Now what is happening? Now this side will not be the perpendicular distance because force is like this straight, and here also the force is like this straight. So basically a right angle triangle is made over here. Are you able to understand? If you are able to see the top view, when it was straight, when it is like this, what will be the top view? Top view will be something like this. Okay, top view will be something like this. This force is perpendicular inward and this force is perpendicular outward. So what is the perpendicular distance between them? The breadth only. I am talking about QR. If it was straight, but now what is happening? It is not straight, it is like this. So from the top, if you are able to see, earlier it was like a straight line, like here, okay, but now what is happening? It is tilt, it is like this, okay. So basically on this force is towards this side, so now this forces will be towards this side, force will be towards this side. So basically now what will happen? This view will be made, where to make? Suppose here I am making it. Now this is a bit tilt now. On this force is inward, on this force is outward. This is your B. So what is the perpendicular distance between them? This is going to be the perpendicular distance. This side, if this is P, this is Q, this is Q and this is R. So this is the perpendicular distance we have to take. Now what should be the angle? Now just see. If area vector of the coil, which is perpendicular, makes an angle with the magnetic field, say this angle is theta. So if this angle is theta, then this angle is going to be 90 minus theta because area vector makes an angle 90 degree with the edge. Now if this angle is 90 minus theta, then if P is Q, it is R, S tak till S we have written, let this point be T, let this point be T. Okay. So if this angle is 90 minus theta, so basically this angle is also 90 minus theta. And if this 90 minus theta, then this angle is going to be theta. So basically this angle is theta. Remember, theta is the angle between area vector and the magnetic field. Okay. So basically if this angle is theta, this side is B, then what is the RT? RT will be B sin theta. So we must write over here B sin theta. Value of sin 90 is 1. So it will become I L B capital B sin theta. L into B, it is the area of the coil. IAB sin theta. For n turns, torque will be equal to NIAB sin theta. What is the direction of torque? This is very easy. This is very simple. How the direction of torque will be? In this case, the coil is rotating like this. So what you have to do? You have to rotate your fingers along the coil like this. So where the direction of the torque is? Downward. Is it clear? Coil is rotating like this. You have to curl your finger like this. So where the direction of torque is? Direction of torque is downward. So basically torque is equal to NIAB sin theta. Now from here, three simple cases can be made. One, theta is equal to 0 degree, torque will be 0. When theta is equal to 90 degree, torque will be maximum and it will be NIAB. Last case is when theta is equal to 180 degree, again in that case sin 180 is also 0. So basically what will happen? Torque will also become 0. Now we are going to do some questions on the based on this topic. Okay, so that our understanding towards this topic will become clear. Let us solve some questions based on two things are being asked. What is the net force and what is the torque? Okay, what is the net force and what is the torque? Let us see. So this is your first question. a straight current carrying wire is there, which carries a current of 4 ampere. Just nearby it, a rectangular loop is kept. The side of the loops are 2 centimeter and 5 centimeter. It carries a current of 1 ampere and the current is clockwise in this loop. Question is, what is the net force and the torque acting on the loop? Why there is a torque acting on the loop? Because due to this wire there is a magnetic field acting at these points. So basically this loop is kept in a magnetic field, and when a loop is kept in a magnetic field, there are chances that the loop experiences a torque. So let us understand first of all about the force. Let us name this side P, Q, R, S. Okay. Now just see, when we talk about the side PQ, so basically in the direction in PQ, the direction of current is same as in the direction of current in the straight wire. So basically these are two parallel wires who's having same direction of current. And when there is a case like this, that the last video lecture, second last, hence not the last one, in the second last video lecture, we studied that whenever the current are in the same direction, the wire attract, so there is a mutual attraction. What is the force acting per unit length? Formula, if you remember, F dash or F upon L is equal to mu naught I1 I2 upon 2 pi d. This is the formula. So basically this formula can be applied for the PQ. For PQ, for PQ, force can be given by FPQ, and I am not calculating force per unit length. So basically I am going to calculate force on the wire PQ. So basically this length is going to be multiplied over there. Okay. So now what will happen? Mu naught. What is the value of I1? 4 ampere. What is the value of I2? It is 1 ampere. Multiply by length. What is the length of PQ? It is 5 centimeter. Let us convert that 5 centimeter into meters. So it will 5 into 10 to the power minus 2 whole upon 2 pi into D. What is D? D is 1 centimeter. 1 into 10 to the power minus 2. 10 to the power minus 2, 10 to the power minus 2 will be cancelled out. 2 will cancel this 4 2 times. Anything else? The value of mu naught we have to put. The value of mu naught is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7 multiply by 2 multiply by 5, it will become 10 whole upon, only pi is left over here. Pi and pi also cancelled out. 10 multiplied by 4, it will become what? It will become 40 into 10 to the power minus 7, or we can write 4 into 10 to the power minus 6 Newton. So force acting on the PQ is 4 into 10 to the power minus 6, and what is the direction of force acting on this? Direction of force will be towards this direction, FPQ. Now what is the force acting on QR? Whatever it will be in the direction of this force will be FQR. And what is the problem? Problem is at each point of QR the magnetic field is different, and if magnetic field is different then force is also different. FQR, let it be the net force. And why I am putting it upward only? Just see, direction of magnetic field will be inward because of current is going this way. At each point the direction of magnetic field is in this way. Now what will happen? QR is the direction of current, and all these fingers towards the magnetic field where the palm faces. Palm faces upward. So that's why the force I have made is upward. Force will be different, but the direction of force will be upward only. So I have made a net force, that is FQR, it will be upward. Same goes with SP. Direction of current is reverse now. So direction of current, thumb is in the direction of current, this thumb, it is in the direction of current, and all the fingers towards the magnetic field, force will be downward. Now these two forces, FQS, will cancel each other, because suppose if you take a small section of length over here, then at this section the force will be same, and obviously it will be opposite. So that's why the force will be cancelled on QR and SP. So basically FPQ, force on PQ wire, and force on RS wire we have to calculate. Now the force, the RS wire, the RS section of wire is having just opposite current. and when current is opposite, there is a mutual repulsion. The force acting on this wire will be towards in this direction. This force is FRS. Now what is the value of FRS? For RS. So FRS will be equal to, what is the value of mu naught? 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7. What is the value of I1? 4 ampere. What is the value of R2? 1 ampere. What is the distance now? 2 plus 1, 3 centimeter now. Now the value of D. This length, what is that length? 5 centimeter, 5 into 10 to the power minus 2 upon 2 pi multiplied by D. What is separation now? So RS and this straight wire have a separation of 3 centimeter now. So it will become 3 into 10 to the power minus 2. Centimeter has to be converted in meter. Now 2 pi will cut this 4 pi by 2 times, and 10 to the power minus 2, 10 to the power minus 2 will cancel out. Now we don't have anything which cancels. So basically what will happen, FRS will be equal to 2 4s are 8, 5s are 40 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 7 upon 3. 40 upon 3 into 10 to the power minus 7 Newton. This is the force acting on RS. Now you can see this force, if we write 40 into 10 to the power 7, or it can be written as FRS is equal to 4 by 3 into 10 to the power minus 6 Newton. Okay? So basically it is 4 into 10 to 4 by 3 into 10 to the power minus 6 Newton. It is 4 into 10 to the power minus 6 Newton. Now we can calculate the net force, F net. As you can see in the diagram also, these two forces are opposite. So basically the bigger force is this one, FPQ minus FRS. 10 to the power minus 6, if we take common, 4 minus 4 by 3 into 10 to the power minus 6. 3 4s are 12. 8 by 3 into 10 to the power minus 6 Newton. This is the F net. Okay, this is the F net. Now the question is, what is the torque? What is the torque acting on the wire? The torque will be 0. Why is it so? Because the direction of magnetic field is inward. If you calculate the area, direction of area vector, it is also inward. Torque will be 0 because current is in this direction and magnetic field at each point on this side of the wire will be inward. And when we talk about the area, direction of area vector, since the current is going this way, we curl our finger to find the direction of area vector. Area vector will be in this direction. So basically magnetic field and the net torque will be 0 because the formula for torque is equal to NIAB sin theta. For theta 0, sin theta will be 0 and torque will be 0. So basically torque will be 0 and the force will be 8 upon 3 into 10 to the power minus 6 Newton. This is the solution of this question. So many questions are of this type is being asked. Okay, you need to find out in this manner. Now let us move to our next topic. And next topic is galvanometer. Next topic is moving coil galvanometer. Moving coil galvanometer. What is a galvanometer? So galvanometer is a device. A galvanometer is a device which detects current in the circuit. Okay, galvanometer is a device which detects current in the circuit. By galvanometer we can know whether the current is flowing in the circuit or not. What is its working principle? A very simple thing is, just we have studied that torque acting on a coil, current carrying coil, is given by NIAB sin theta. From here, if somehow that theta can be fixed. Like suppose by any configuration of magnetic field, I have put theta at 90 degree. So if theta is 90 degree, theta is pi by 2, then torque is equal to NIAB. So basically this torque is proportional to I. Higher the current, higher the torque, and higher the torque, higher will be the angular deflection. Higher the current flowing in the rectangular coil, higher the torque, and higher the torque, higher will be the angular deflection. Torque will rotate by a greater angle. So this is what the principle of moving coil galvanometer. If we measure somehow what is the angle by it deflects, then from that angle we can calculate torque, and from that torque we can calculate I, or we can see whether the current is flowing in the circuit or not. If no current will be flowing, no torque will be there. If no torque will be there, no angular deflection will be there. Is it clear? So this is the principle, that the torque acting on a current carrying loop is directly proportional to the current flowing in the loop. Okay, higher the current, higher the torque, higher will be the angular deflection. If the coil rotates by a greater angle, basically the current in the circuit is greater. If the coil rotates by a smaller angle, then current is smaller. If the coil is not rotating at all, it simply means that there is no current in the coil. Okay, so what is its construction? How this is made? Let us see. Construction. This is the construction of a moving coil galvanometer. There is a wooden frame. It could be of aluminium also. Okay, there is a wooden frame, but it is insulated from the inside. One terminal is this here, one terminal is here. From this terminal, a rectangular coil is connected. This rectangular coil, the other end is connected to other terminal. So basically, when we supply the current will go in the rectangular coil, and then it goes out from this point. Now, this particular strip, it is called, it is of phosphorus bronze. So it is phosphorus bronze strip. The reason I will tell you, here one cylindrical core is there, it is made of soft iron, and out on that cylindrical core, the wire is rotated, the wire is bounded on that cylindrical core. Moreover, two concave shaped magnets are there. Concave shaped magnets are like this. Okay, concave shaped magnets are there. One spring is there, which is called hair spring. Okay, so this is what the concept of the construction of moving coil galvanometer. But when you look at the moving coil galvanometer from the top, how does it look? So this is how this concave magnet looks, and this is how this concave magnet looks. Okay, North Pole and South Pole. How that cylindrical core is like this. You can see only the top circular surface, and now the wires, the coils on it. The coils are bounded. So basically, we can see the coils are like this. Okay. Why the concave magnets are being used? Because for the concave magnets, the magnetic field on the surface of the core falls perpendicular to the surface. Okay, this kind of magnetic field is called radial magnetic field. Radial magnetic field. And why radial magnetic field has to be applied? As I have told you in the beginning also, the torque acting given by NIAB sin theta. So for radial magnetic field, this theta becomes pi by 2. And when theta becomes pi by 2, the sin theta becomes 1. So basically torque will be equal to NIAB only. Right? Now one more thing which I have not shown in that diagram. That thing is, one needle is connected to this core, and one measurement to know by what amount this core rotates. If this core rotates, basically this needle rotates with it. Is it clear? So if it rotates by a greater angle, this needle shows the greater angle. So from here, one thing we need to understand, that whatever be the current in the circuit, the torque depends on that current. Torque is proportional to I, which is basically your condition, or which is basically principle of the moving coil galvanometer. But there is a spring also, and a spring exerts a restoring torque, because when this coil rotates, the spring gets twisted, and when the spring gets twisted, it applies an opposite torque which tries to make the coil comes to its initial state. So that restoring torque of the hairspring, the restoring torque of spring is given by torque is equal to K alpha, where K is what? K is called a torsion constant. Torsion constant. It depends upon the material. When equilibrium comes, then this torque restoring and the torque which is produced by the current becomes equal. Let me remove the diagram so we can write at the bottom. At equilibrium, what will happen? At equilibrium, this torque and this torque becomes equal. NIAB is equal to K alpha, or alpha is equal to NAB upon K into I. Or what we can say? We can say that alpha is proportional to I. Alpha is what? Alpha is the deflecting angle. Alpha is the deflecting angle. By what angle it rotates, the torque restoring depends on that angle. Okay? Actually, torque restoring depends on alpha only. Is it clear? And alpha depends on I. Alpha depends on I. So whatever be the current, according to that current, the deflection angle will be changed. Is it clear? So that is why this alpha depends on I. So if current is higher, alpha will be higher. Current is lower, then alpha will be lower. So this is how that moving coil galvanometer works. So alpha is proportional to I, that I have told you. Deflecting angle is proportional to current. This particular, from here if we calculate the value of I, then it will be K upon NAB into alpha. This is called galvanometer constant and denoted by G. So I is equal to G alpha. Is it clear? This is called galvanometer constant, or G is equal to K upon NAB, which is called galvanometer constant, or it is also called figure of merit. Figure of merit. Is it clear? Besides this, there are two definitions. Okay. One is, what is sensitivity of galvanometer? Sensitivity means if for a small value of change in current, if the galvanometer shows large deflection. For a small change in the current, if the galvanometer shows large deflection, then we'll say that this galvanometer is sensitive. There are two kinds of sensitivity. One is current sensitivity. One is current sensitivity. What is current sensitivity? Current, if a small change in current is there and because of that there is a large deflection in the galvanometer, then we say that the galvanometer is a current sensitive. Mathematical parameter is defined deflection per unit current, that is alpha upon I. From here, if we calculate alpha upon I, it will be equal to NAB upon K. So this is called current sensitivity and denoted by IS. Current sensitivity. IS is equal to deflection per unit current, NAB upon K. Moreover, one more thing is defined, that is called voltage sensitivity. Voltage sensitivity. How that voltage sensitivity is defined? Same way, deflection per unit voltage. Voltage can be written as current multiplied by resistance. Alpha upon I the values, it will be NAB upon K into R. Okay, NAB upon K into R. This is called voltage sensitivity. Now, if one asks how the sensitivity of a galvanometer should be increased, so from this factor, number of turns can be increased, area of the coil can be increased, magnetic field will be increased, and this torsion constant, you can relate torsion constant with the hardness of the material of the spring. If material is hard, then K is more. If material is light, then K is less. Is it clear? So basically, that is why that here spring was taken. So K is less, and because of K is less, current sensitivity and voltage sensitivity is higher. Is it clear? So this is all for galvanometer. Now one more thing is left, conversion of galvanometer into voltmeter and ammeter. That we'll do in the next video lecture, and then we'll solve some NCERT questions. Till the month of July, means till 31st of July, we'll do this chapter only. From 1st of August, we'll start the next one. Okay, so this is all for the day. Thank you.